Welcome to Billy's List. Cool dudes who know cool stuff. Please like and subscribe to the Macrodosing YouTube, and I hope you enjoy the show. See you guys. Hi, welcome back to Billy's List. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the Macrodosing YouTube, like the video, and send to your friends. For our newest Billy's List member, we have Ben Mintz, the man, the king of the South, the legend, my kind of neighbor roommate. So Ben, I mean, what have you been up to these past few weeks? I mean, I don't even remember the last time I saw you.
Yeah, the road's been long and winding. So I left on June the 16th to go to Omaha for the College World Series and had maybe, God, one of the most fun weeks, 10-day stretches of my entire life. I just always, I went to Ole Miss and I've been a big Ole Miss baseball fan for over 20 years. I've been in the tailgate left field. It's been a big part of my life. And I just wanted to see Ole Miss play in Omaha with my own two eyes at some point. They get out there and win the whole damn thing. Ole Miss's first national championship in baseball. I mean, it was literally unreal. I hope everybody followed the content. It was me and Chris Castellani, but it was one of the most surreal weeks of my life. Actually snuck away from Omaha on the day off, flew to Denver, went and saw my favorite band, Widespread Panic, at Red Rocks, the famous music venue, one night. Then after Omaha, flew to Oxford, Mississippi, got to ride the national championship parade. And then I ended up heading to Las Vegas from there to play the World Series of Poker. And I ended up at Phil Ivey's table on day one on the feature table of the main event. So I feel like I've been on a pretty good run in 2022, but this one, I don't know how I could really ever top. And I just got back late last night to Hoboken, and now I'm here with Billy's List, first day back in the office, and been on a bunch of shows today.
Ben, so you've told me a bunch about this, and like we spent late nights talking about like your times down south, but how did you get involved? So like for people who don't know, what is Widespread Panic? Why are you so obsessed with it? Like what like when you say Widespread Panic, like no one knows what you're talking about up north. And I think a lot of the guys just when did you first get into them? Like what is it? What type of stuff is it? You gotta tell the people.
All right, it's a Southern rock and jam band from Athens, Georgia, that I've been seeing for over 15 years, that I've seen all over the country. It's like my favorite band of all time. I hope to get you into the Beacon next week, because they're actually up here in New York from next Thursday to Monday, 5 nights in a row at the Beacon, July 21st to 25th. But it's, people always ask me, like, what's my favorite thing? Like, I love Ole Miss, I love New Orleans, and I love Widespread Panic. And I don't know what's the order, 1, 2, 3, whatever. You ask, like, about me, those are the 3 things I love the most in life. I've seen them 160-something times, from, anywhere from Hollywood to Red Rocks to Ames, Iowa, to all over the Southeast, New York, Boston. I mean, I've used it as an excuse to get out and see the country, but it's one of those things. You think you get older and mature out of the stuff, but it never happens. It's just still gets me so pumped up, and I can't wait for next week already. And what'll be really fun is what you mentioned. Like, it's a funny cultural thing, like being up here in the North and Northeast, where like Panic's big in the Southeast and in Colorado, but then the rest of the country, people are kind of like whatever on it. So you're about to find out up close and personal in the Beacon one night. We'll get you in there one night. You'll see what you have to think of it.
So Ben, kind of give some background. You were at the World Series of Poker. I've heard the story, a couple times, and it still fascinates me. But like, tell the rest of the listeners, like, how did you get into poker? What's sort of your story that you to end up here, and like how that all happened.
Okay, so getting into poker, man, I started out playing like $5 games in the ATO house at Ole Miss in like 2003, when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker and the poker boom hit. And we just played for fun, and I just got real into it. And I started playing in Tunica, Mississippi, an hour away at the casinos. And I, put some money online and kind of got hooked. So that was how it started. I got really good. And the thing that really got me going was one night I was playing a $22 tournament on Party Poker in April of 2006 with like 2,400 people in it. And I was like a broke college kid that $300, $400 to my name. And I just win this tournament for like 10,000 off $20. And I thought I was like a millionaire. And right when that happened, I was like, oh, we got to see where this goes. And that ended up launching into me being a poker pro from 2006 to 2014. At my peak, I was top 200 in the world online. I traveled the country for poker a lot. I actually, funny you bring up the widespread panic. I used to like get a map out where poker tournaments were near where Panic was touring, and I'd be like, let's merge this and just go to see shows and go play poker tournaments. I was doing that for quite a while. At my peak, I got 75th in the World Series main in 2011 for 90K, and that was the peak of the career. And it was something I did for a long time. I mean, I literally did nothing but that till 2014 for a living. And now, I went back to school in 14, finished my Ole Miss degree when I was 31, and then I got sports radio and worked up from North Louisiana to Baton Rouge to Barstool. But the poker thing, it's a lot of fun to do on the side now when, I bust out of the main and I'm still getting a paycheck because it's a lot less stressful for sure.
I mean, so I'm like, I play a decent amount of poker casually. I've never competed. What sort of sets apart professional poker players from average Joes playing in frat houses and basements across the country? Because I mean, what's your mindset? What goes through your head when you get a hand? I mean, are you doing that much math and for percentages, or what's going on in your brain when you get your
Okay,
cards?
so the thing with poker math is once you play enough, and my online background, I used to play 4 to 8 tables at once online. I had two 24-inch monitors where I'd have 4 going on each. So the math, once you get to that level, you just memorize it all and you just know it all. It's kind of one of those things. I know all the poker math, what are odds to hit, flush draws, straight draws, percentages of hands. The big thing is pot odds. I know all that stuff. That's like a computer clock in my brain. I just have all that stuff cold. What's fascinating about live poker is the psychology at the table. And that's the thing that's different from online and live. Online, you're reading bet sizes and that kind of stuff. But live, you can feel out the energy. If people are confident, if they're not confident, do they put their chips in fast or slow when they have hands? Do they bet big when they're bluffing? Do they bet big when they have hands? And what I love is the psychology of live, because I feel like my personality, I've got a loud personality. I'm an energetic guy. I mean, it is what it is. And so I think that gets magnified at the poker table. And so I think people don't know how to react to my energy at the poker table when it causes people to make a lot of mistakes. And so, a big part of what I like to do at the live poker table is kind of the illusion of action, where I'll bluff at a lot of small pots and get active, but I'm not necessarily bluffing in huge pots. But by being active, getting in a lot of pots, it kind of stirs the pot a little, the energy at the table, and it kind of makes people uncomfortable. And then that's when they make big mistakes. I feel like people, when I catch big hands, people don't believe me, and I get paid a lot.
Gee, so you're just out psyching. You're just out there getting in their face, full court press. I mean, I saw when you were playing the World Series of Poker, the first thing you did when you sat down was start talking to everybody and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with poker. Nobody, the earbuds and the hoodies and stuff, all that. People, I feel like the live poker, the social aspect is important. And when you find out about what people do they have jobs, they grind, you can use that as information, because it's a game of incomplete information. And so whatever info you got helps your decision-making process. So I like to meet the people, where you come from. Is this your first main event, or have you played this thing 15 times? Because that kind of stuff is very relevant. How likely are these people to have nuts and bluff it off? Or, if it's their first main event, how nervous are they? You got to factor all that kind of stuff into the equation. So I think the table talk is very important.
So with the table talk, how do you position yourself depending on what they do? So let's say you hear that one guy's construction worker from from Ohio. Would that change the way you sort of perceive him? Is it was some finance dude from Wall Street, depending on how it goes? How do you use that information?
Yeah, well, I think the big part of the main's a $10,000 buy-in. And so it means different. Money is just a unit of value. So $10,000 means the world to some people, and it doesn't mean a damn thing. They're millionaires. And so you got to realize how much does this main event mean to that person? Because a lot of people, if you've never played a 10K buy-in and used to playing $200 and $300 buy-ins, you're nervous as hell in the main, and you're waiting on really, really good hands to put your money in. You're not going to bluff it off. And so whenever you have people like that, you need to know that, because you can exploit them and you can win all kinds of pots bluffing them, because they're going to be too scared to fight back in the 10K. And so you've got to figure out what people, what players does that money mean a lot to, and then what people that it doesn't, that will bluff you and fight back against you. I think that that's very relevant in the World Series main event specifically.
I mean, with that, so during your experience, like, what were some situations playing in this World Series of poker? Like, how did you, I hate to bring it up, but how did you lose? What did you learn from that moment? And honestly, how does that all work? Do you go till you lose all your money, or how exactly is that process? Because it's hard to follow.
Okay, so the way it works is everybody starts out with 60,000 chips, and what they do is they raise the levels every 2 hours. So it starts at like the 100, 200 level. But then the reason people bust and run out of money is because they raise the levels. If you sat there at 100, 200, people would be playing for 2 months. And so that's how people are caused to bust. You go from 100, 200 to like 2, 300 to 2, 4. And like every 2 hours it goes up. Like right now, I think they're playing like 20,000, 40,000 or something on day 6. And so that's how people will run out of money, because if you have to raise the levels. As far as how I played this one, so, I got stuck with Phil Ivey, best player in the world, on my left day 1. I'm going to be very honest about my poker game. I still feel I'm very good, but I've only played 4 or 5 times this year because I've been busy with Barstool. And so when I get stuck with the best player in the world on my left, like, I was playing a little tighter, more conservative day 1, because I'm not trying to get out of line when I got Ivy on my left, who's literally going to just beat the crap out of me if I get real crazy and out of hand. So I played a little more conservative day 1. When I was at that featured table, I was kind of card dead. I didn't really catch too much. I did get a bluff through with ace-4 of spades one time. As far as day 2, though, so you start with 60,000. I bagged 54,700 at the end of day 1. Not great, not bad, whatever. Day 2, I came out blasting. I ran my 54,700 up to 100,000, was winning a lot of pots, felt really good about my table. Had a weaker table, I was in control. And then this hand came up that really got me. So it was 500 to 1,000. And the first guy makes it 2,300. And I have ace king of spades, which is one of the best hands you could have, is ace king suited. But I just called pre-flop kind of to trap and disguise it instead of re-raising. And then one other person called.
What does that exactly mean? Because you're using a lot of poker terminology.
Okay, my bad. So like, ace and a king are the 2 highest cards you can have in your hand that aren't paired. So like the best hand in poker is 2 aces. The second best hand is 2 kings. Then the third best hand is 2 queens. But an ace and a king is one of the best, like top 5 hands is basically what I would say, especially suited. So because you only get 2 cards, you got the 2 biggest cards that aren't paired with an ace and a king. So that's a premium big time hand. Okay. So I did not re-raise the guy pre-flop because I was trying to disguise my hand. Like I thought if I re-raised the guy pre-flop, he'd know like, oh, this guy probably has ace king. So what you always try to do in poker is I try to have what they don't think I have. You want to keep them guessing. So you do stuff like mix it up, So I just called, and one of the guys behind me makes a big re-raise, makes it like 10,200. Initial guy folds, and it gets back to me, and my hand is so disguised with ace king because I just called. He made it 10,000, and he only had like 45 back. So I don't know if this was a mistake or not, but I stuck it in with ace king suited, and I ran just straight into aces. I mean, the odds of that aren't big, to run into that, but that pretty much sucked. So it knocked me down from 100K to like 40 in that hand. And then I was down all the way to 28, and then I ran it up after a break up to 60K on a comeback, and I felt really good about it. And then I call it pocket queens, which is like the 3rd best hand, and basically got it in, got my 60,000 in before the flop against the same guy had ace king. And so if you have ace king against 2 queens, Billy, it's what's called a coin flip, because he's got 2 overcards and I have a pair, and he flopped on the flop and ace came, and that knocked me out. So basically I felt like on day 2, I played really, really good. I won a lot of pots, but then I just lost 2 huge all-ins with the ace king against aces and the queens against ace king. And I mean, both those spots had 120, 130,000 chips in it. If I win either one, I felt like I was going to make some kind of run, but unfortunate for sure.
Where's the sketchiest place you've ever played a game of poker?
Oh man, I think the worst place I've ever played was the Isle of Capri in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Just looking around at the people, it was rough. But I've been around a lot of random outposts. I mean, I came up in Tunica, Mississippi, Philadelphia, Mississippi, been to Oklahoma. A lot of the gambling towns in the country are in really random spots. So I've definitely gone to some pretty crazy places to play poker for sure. Because a lot of times, what's the old saying? There's money in shit. The more random and the farther away you're willing to go up the beaten path, the worse the players are. If that makes sense, because none of the top pros want to go to Oklahoma. They want to hang out in Vegas or Miami or whatever. And so, a lot of times, Coachella, Louisiana, got to mention that one. In the middle of the Cajun Sticks, that's got to be way, way, way up there when you're in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana. Just literally out in the just complete sticks. That's got to be probably number one.
Now, are these all like legit locations, like casinos and everything, or were you playing some of these like just random bars, like random games?
Those are casinos. I'm always a little hesitant to play in the random like home games and stuff because cheating scandals are everywhere in the poker world. And so if I don't trust the people throwing a game, like I'm real hesitant about that stuff, man. I'm telling you, like the amount of people that cheat in poker, I mean, it's it's kind of, it's a game of lying kind of anyway, when you bluff, but I'm real sketchy about the home games and all that kind of stuff because I've just heard so many horror stories through the years.
What kind of horror stories?
Oh man, stuff like, I mean, people had infrared contact lenses to see through cards. This one time, this New Orleans scandal, I had a buddy get cheated out of like 85K in this New Orleans scandal one time in a home game. The people were like wearing glasses or contact lenses where they could see through the cards.
Wait,
I mean, there's just wild stuff like that goes on, man. It makes me real jaded. So I don't like to play anywhere that I don't feel like I can trust.
Wait, so there's technology to see through cards?
I don't know I think they used contact lenses, but it was crazy. And it was like they got greedy because all these people that weren't world-class players are suddenly like making these crazy river bluffs and stuff, doing stuff that they're not capable of. Like they must be able to see your hand if they like know to raise the spot. And ultimately there were some online, there were some big online scandals too, where like this guy Pot Ripper had a thing where you could see all the cards in a tournament. He had software where we could see everybody's cards and won this like $1,000 tournament one time and got caught doing it on Absolute Poker back in the day. And so, yeah, and then a lot of times online, you'd hear about like the high stakes cash games, like 2 or 3 people would know each other and bum hunt one person in a room. And so, there's just a lot of shady stuff like that goes on.
Bum hunting?
Well, like you'd have 3 or 4 people that were friends in a game online and just wait for one person to come in there and then they just try to like all team up on them kind of thing.
Huh.
So there's just a lot of shady stuff. So like, honestly, like I like to play like the online, I'll play the tournaments because I don't think people can conclude really when there's 400 or 500 people in there. And then I like to play the cash games when I'm live in the casinos where I can like trust the poker rooms with all the cameras and all that stuff. I'm a little careful about the home games.
So what do you think? Have you ever gotten to play the dead man's hand?
What?
You know what the dead man's hand is?
Yeah, ace 8, right?
Yeah.
Shot the ace and 8. I'll play ace 8 some in the right spots, like ace 8 suited. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely played it a good bit. Everything in poker is like situational, but a lot of times, if you're playing with like 5 or 6 people at the table instead of 9 or 10, ace 8's a pretty good hand because like if you're playing only against 4 people, it's 9. Then a hand like ace 8's like a good hand, But if 9 or 10 people are at the table, somebody's probably got ace 8 beat. So it's like the less people are at the table, the more you're playing marginal hand.
Huh. So we got some questions.
Yeah, so you got to just like adjust.
We got some questions from the crowd. As always on the Billy List interviews, we have live viewers who are able to message in the chat questions. So first question comes from Yacht Guy. Stay or hit on 15 in blackjack?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Stay or hit on 15 in blackjack?
If they're I'm hitting them as long as they're showing a 7 or higher.
Okay, so if they're showing 7 or higher, hit. Anything lower, stay?
Yeah, but if they're showing a 6, 5, or 4, I'm not hitting. But if they're showing a 7 or higher, yeah, I'm hitting every time.
You gotta pick one from John. Lindsay's Chevron chicken salad or chicken on a stick?
He said, "Oh wow, he's giving the Oxford chicken on a stick or the bitch." I'll go with the Chevron chicken salad. I know people always bash me for this, but I was never as much of a chicken man. Well, back during my drunk days, the chicken on a stick at 2 a.m. would kind of make sense, but man, a soggy fried chicken ain't always the best thing in my opinion. But I'll get flamed for that from Ole Miss people, but I'm just telling you, calling it like it is.
Is South Carolina Charleston the real South?
Charleston, yeah. Charleston's awesome. Charleston, I love the 1700s architecture, great seafood, a lot of beautiful women. You're on the beach. Hell yeah, I love Charleston, South Carolina. I've got a lot of friends there, and I was in a wedding there, and big Charleston fan. Wish I could spend more time there than I do.
What's your top 5 college football teams?
Top 5. What did they mean? Like rank who I think are the best, or my
going into the season? Yeah.
2 Ohio State. Those are for sure. I'll say Georgia 3, even though they lost a lot. I just think they recruited at such a super high level. I think 4 and 5. Can't believe I have just started my college football research, so I'm trying to think who would have 4 or 5. Who would have 4 or 5 this year? Michigan lost a lot. I'm just going to go with those 3 for the moment. Okay. My college football research is going to start. I'm about to crank that up real big, but I hadn't really got it going yet because I've been doing poker in Omaha.
Give those top 3 again. You froze out for a second when you were getting
Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, maybe Clemson 4 because I think they're going to be better. I think Uiagalelei is going to play a lot better this year, so I'll go with them at 4.
Perfect. What was one of the craziest things you saw on this trip or in any of these parades?
Oh man, I think one of the craziest things was there's a lifetime of memories with the Ole Miss national title run. I mean, when Ole Miss gets in the national title game, and I'm hugging Tim Elko, who's our best player, who we did a lot of NIL stuff like right outside the dugout when we won. I mean, that's like iconic Ole Miss moment. I'll never forget it. One of the other fun moments was I went and met the team to party after they won, and I got in line walking from Blatz into Rocco's, this bar. When I walk in with the team, dude, I mean, I'm talking all hell broke loose in this bar. And then the whole bar was chanting Mintzy, dude. It was just insane, man. And then riding the parade. I mean, dude, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like I live in the Twilight world. Like, how the hell really happened? Getting to ride in the parade around Oxford, and then and then just getting to be the other thing is just the Phil Ivey thing. That picture where Ivey's got his trademark stare down, staring me down. That picture is just unbelievable. I don't know the picture that's on my Twitter. It's just ridiculous, dude. But so, I mean, honestly, a lifetime. The Ole Miss thing I'll never get over, though, because I can't say enough. Like, I'm so invested. And, like, we have this left field tailgate, which is my favorite thing, man. We grill out, we do crawfish bowls, steaks, whatever. And it's been a huge 60 minutes. Came to Omaha.
Repeat that last part again.
I'm just saying, like, just how everybody, like, I'm part of this left field tailgate at Ole Miss, like, and that's my favorite thing about Oxford is our tailgate left field. I mean, I have so many great relationships from it. There's like 60 members of our tent, and every single person made it all the way to Omaha for that College World Series. It was so special.
Crazy.
It felt like a once in a lifetime thing.
Now, going back to your time in New Orleans, how many Mardi Gras parades do you think you've attended?
A good bit. So I was always a little more of a Jazz Fest guy than Mardi Gras. I'm a big fan. Like, I always liked the Music Fest, but a good bit. This was the first time I ever rode in one this year, though. It was on a road in Crew of Fret. It's a whole different deal when you ride in them. Just getting to see the whole city. I think it's just like riding them so much. I mean, they're fun to go to, but they're so much more fun to ride in. I've also been to a couple of the Mardi Gras balls where you wear a tux. I've been to the Bacchus ball a few times. I used to kind of have a tradition of asking like a girl that was like way out of my league to go to the Bacchus ball with me because it was such a strong invite, And so that was kind of a tradition thing that I used to fire at.
How successful were you?
It worked a couple times. I mean, well, I went 1 for 2, but not bad.
Hey, that's 50%. That's amazing. That's 500 in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. So,
any more questions?
Maybe bring that back next year.
What is the Bacchus ball?
So Bacchus is one of the biggest Mardi Gras parades. And the ball, it's like a black tie. Everybody wears a tux, and the women all wear dresses and beads, and you always have a badass band and an open bar. And it's just like a high end culture, just New Orleans rager is how I'd say it. But there's thousands of people at it. I mean, they have it in like a huge convention center. It's really fun, really cool. I'm not much of a guy to wear tuxes. I'm wearing a tux, I'm either in a wedding or at a Mardi Gras ball. That's pretty much the only times you'll ever see it.
What's the history behind it? I know Bacchus is the Greek god of wine.
I know that I just know the big thing is one of my buddies is really high up in Bacchus, and so I just get everything through him, to be truthful. But Bacchus is one of when you look at the old school NOLA Mardi Gras parade, it's like Bacchus, Crew of Tux, Endymion, or some of the really diehard traditional ones that have a lot of power and a lot of money, a lot of tradition. And so those are all some of the best ones.
Are they groups or what are they?
Yeah, it's like a year-round thing. If you're a member of Bacchus, like you have annual dues and you've got events all year, and you ride in the float in the parade and you have your beads, everybody dresses up. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's like a cultural thing to be part of. And I'm not a member of any of the parades because that's just too big any of the foundations because it's too big of a commitment, but it's a whole thing in New Orleans, man. I mean, it's a crazy deal.
Huh. I mean, Ben,
we'll get you down. No, Billy, look, you're friends with me. Like, one of the most fun things is our difference in cultural stuff, and we've got to be really good friends, even at different ages, different places. You'll be hitting a Mardi Gras parade, and you'll be hitting a Water Panic show with me, both in the not too distant future. Yeah, this Panic thing's going down, dude. This thing's happening next week. We'll get you in there and just let you go in there sight unseen. Don't know any of the music, and just let you just rock out. And then at the end, we'll let you do a concert review with me, and we'll have some thoughts. People will love it.
What are your plans for the next couple of weeks?
It's time to hit the rocket. So I mean, the summer Mintzy stuff's been taken off on Twitter, but it was there's 3 things this summer Mintzy. It was College World Series in Omaha, World Series of Poker in Vegas, and then this Northeast Jam Band run that is ridiculous. It's about to start. Dead and Company City Field Friday, Saturday, and I heard a rumor you're thinking about going to one of them. And then the Jam Band Fish, I like lots kind of running around here. They're in Philly next week. They're in Jones Beach the week after in Long Island. And then Widespread Panic, like I mentioned, is at Beacon next Thursday to Monday. So if I wanted to, there's a run where you can see Dead, Fish, or Panic 11 times, 13 days. I'm not saying I'm going to do every one of them, but I'm going to do at least one Dead, at least 2 Fish, and all 5. I'm doing all 5 Panic, just no doubt about it, at the historic Beacon. So there's about to be an incredible amount of rock and roll. But it's nice because it's all near here. I'll still be in the office every day going to work, so I don't have to catch any crap. Thinking about breaking out the concert reviews, Billy. I kind of brought it up to you on the way to work. We review everything in Barstool, Dave the Pizza. You have all kinds of reviews. Nobody's done concert reviews yet, so I think we may have to try it out a little bit here.
Hey, I mean,
I'm gonna hit some lot content too. Go see the Dead Company lot. Yeah, well, one of my buddies is Nolan Dad, who follows the whole Dead tour. He's got like a LSU level tailgate in the Dead lot, so we got to get out there and hit that at Citi Field. And then, and then I'll hit the Fish with my buddies on the Fish tour. I'll hit the Fish lot. I mean, things about to really. The lot scene is going to get out of control.
I've never been on a lot. I've been to tailgates, but tell me some war stories from the lot, because you hear about the lot a lot.
Well, it's just the lot thing's a lot of characters, man. I mean, people are buying anything from shirts to food. I mean, the grilled cheeses in the lot's always like a funny thing. All the looks out there selling grilled cheeses and stuff. People are looking for some other stuff that we're not going to go down that road. But the lot scene is it's like its own it's like its own market. I don't know how to say it. There's nothing like a show lot. And it goes back to Grateful Dead Shakedown Street was what the original one was called. But you've got it at Fish and Panic. The dead lots are obviously the biggest. But if you've never walked down it and checked them out, it's a very unique thing, checking out the lots, what people are selling, and the characters. I mean, you're meeting characters from all over the world, from all walks of life, a lot of looks, I don't know. It's its own thing that we're just gonna have to walk around and see what you think. I think we're gonna have to expose Billy to some lots and some dead, some panic here, and see what happens.
I'm excited. That should be.
Got to keep some funk in your soul, baby. Keep that funk in my soul.
Me and Ben and I are gonna be coming out with some serious rock and roll content coming soon.
No, the rock and roll is coming, dude. I mean, also, I got to call it like it is, man. I'm road life and feeling a little. My chin came back. I mean, we got to dance these calories off, man.
Hey, I think that's the next chapter of the Mintzy experiment. We're just going to try to get him to dance off the weight. It's going to be hard, but I think it'll work out.
I think it'll work out too, man. I think the problem with that, man, I do good in New York, but man, the road life, I got to do better. We got to figure out something, but whatever. We're going to get on it. Next 7-8 weeks, I'm really committed. We got to be looking good for football season.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ben's got to head out. Thank you, everyone who's been listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to Macrodosing YouTube. Like this video, share it. Thank you, Ben, for coming on. I've been meaning to get Ben on. We always have amazing conversations. We're
about to have some amazing experiences too. I'm telling you. I know.
Ben's about to take
the deadline, dude. I'm telling you, this going with panic to me is your eyes are gonna be open on this one.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Subscribe if you haven't. Share the video. Like it. Once again, thanks, Billy's List. Have a good one.
Thank you, Mintzy.